Okay, hello, Haley. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, baby Carter. Hello, Mama. This is part 2 of the Ugly Duckling story. Okay. He is too big, they all cried, and the turkey cock, who had been born with spurs, and therefore thought himself an emperor at least, puffed himself out like a ship in full sail, pitched into him, then grabbed until he was red in the face. The poor duckling did not know where to turn, and he was distressed because he was ugly, and the laughing-stock of the whole duck-yard. Thus it fared with him the first day, and after that things grew worse and worse. The wretched duckling was chased about by them all. His own brothers and sisters kept saying, "If only the cat would take you, you hideous object," while even his own mother said, "Would that you were far, far away." The ducks bit him, the hens pecked him, and even the girl who gave the animals their food kicked him. Then he ran away and flew right over the hedge. The little birds in the bushes were scared and flew into the air. "That is because I am so ugly," said the duckling, and closed his eyes. So he ran on until he came to a large fen where the wild ducks lived, and there he lay the whole night, feeling very weary and sorrowful. In the morning the wild ducks flew high up into the air and saw their new comrade. "What kind of thing are you?" they asked him, and the duckling turned awkwardly in every direction and greeted them as well as it could. "You are intensely ugly," said the wild ducks, "but it is all the same to us, if only you do not marry into the family." Poor creature! As if he had any idea of marrying. It was enough for him to be allowed to lie among the rushes and drink a little fen water. There he lay for 2 whole days, and then there came 2 wild geese, or rather wild ganders. It was not very long ago since they had come out of their eggshells, and that was why they were so pert. "Listen, comrade," they said, "you are so ugly that we have taken quite a fancy to you. Will you fly with us and become a bird of passage? Close by here, in another fen, there are some sweet, delightful wild geese, maiden ladies, the whole lot of them, who can say 'quack' most charmingly. You'll be able to cut a fine figure there, as ugly as you are." "Pop, pop!" sounded the same instant, and 2 wild geese fell dead among the rushes, while the water turned red. "Pop, pop!" sounded again, and whole swarms of wild geese flew up out of the rushes. Then there were fresh bangs. It was a shooting party. The sportsmen lay around the fen, nay, some even sat up in the branches of the trees, which stretched right over the rushes. The blue smoke went like clouds among the dark trees and hung far over the water, and the hunting dogs came splashing through the mire. Reeds and sedges swayed in every direction. It was a terrible moment for the poor duckling, who turned its head around to put it beneath its wing, and the same instant a frightful big dog stood right in front of it, his tongue hanging far out of his mouth. And here's a picture of the ducks. And here's another picture. His eyes shining fearfully, talking about the dog again. He put his jaws right against the duckling, showed his sharp teeth, and splash! Off he went without seizing it. "Oh, heavens be praised," sighed the duckling. "I am so ugly that even the dog doesn't like to bite me." And it lay quite still while the shots hissed among the sedges and gun after gun cracked and banged away. Only when the day was far advanced and all was still again did the poor duckling dare to get up. It waited many hours longer before it looked about, and then hastened away from the fen as fast as it could. It ran over marsh and meadow, but there was such a wind that it could hardly get along. Towards evening, it reached a broken-down little cottage. The poor creature was so wretched that it could not make up its mind on which side it would sit, and so remained standing. It then saw the door was off one of the hinges and hung loosely so that the duckling could peep into the room through the crack. In the cottage lived an old woman with her cat and her hen. The cat, whom she called Sonny, could shoot up his back and purr. He could even throw out sparks, but you had to stroke his fur the wrong way first. That's static electricity. The hen had stumpy little legs and was therefore called Chicky Short Legs. It laid good eggs, and the woman loved it as if it had been her child. The next morning they noticed the strange duckling, and the cat began to purr and the hen to cluck. "Well, I never," said the old woman, and it looked all about her. But her eyesight was not very good, so she fancied that the duckling was a fat duck which had lost its way. "Why, this is a rare good find. Now perhaps I can have duck's eggs too. We must wait a bit and see." So the duckling was taken on a trial for 3 weeks, but not a single egg came to light. The cat was master in that house, and the hen was mistress, and they always said, "We and the world," for they thought they were half of the world, and the better half too. The duckling hinted that there might be 2 opinions on this point, but the hen would not hear of such a thing. "Can you lay eggs?" she asked. "No." "Then hold your tongue." And the cat said, "Can you arch your back, purr, and throw out sparks?" It's an electrical cat. "No." "Then you have no business to have any opinion at all when sensible people are talking." So the duckling sat in the corner and was quite out of sorts, and was seized up. Then it thought of the fresh air and sunshine, and was seized up with a strong desire to float upon the water, that at last it could not help saying so to the hen. "Why, what's the matter with you?" asked the hen. "This comes of being idle. You have nothing to do, and that's why you have all these fancies. Lay eggs or purr, and they'll go away." "But it's so nice to float upon the water," said the duckling. "So nice to take a header and go right to the bottom." "Oh, most delightful, I am sure," said the hen. "You're mad, I think. Ask the cat. He's the wisest person I know. If he likes floating on the water or taking headers, I'll say no more. Ask our mistress, the old woman. There is no one in the whole world wiser than she. Do you fancy that she has any desire to float on the water or take headers?" "You don't understand me," said the duckling. "If we don't understand you, I should like to know who does. You will never be any wiser than the cat and the old woman, let alone myself. Don't make a fool of yourself, child, and thank heaven for all the kindness that has been shown to you. Have you not been admitted to a warm room and into the company from which you can learn something? But you're a wretch, and conversation with you is anything but pleasant. You may take my word for it. I only mean it for your good when I feel I must tell you these unpleasant truths. 'Tis only one's real friends who talk to one like that. See that you lay eggs and learn to purr, or give out sparks." "I think I will go out into the wide world," said the duckling. "Do, by all means," said the hen. So the duckling went. It floated upon the water and took headers, but all the other animals looked down on it because it was so ugly. And now autumn came. The leaves of the forest were green and yellow and brown, and the wind caught hold of them and made them dance about. And there was a cold look high in the sky. The clouds hung heavy with hail and snowflakes, and on the fence The raven stood and cried for sheer cold. Ow, ow! Yes, very thought was enough to make anyone freeze. The poor duckling had anything but a pleasant time of it, you can be sure. One evening the sun went down gloriously, and from a large grove a whole flock of lovely large birds came forth. The duckling had never seen anything so beautiful. They were dazzlingly white, all long, supple, graceful necks. They were swans. They uttered a strange cry, spread out their splendid wings, and flew away from the cold fields to the warmer lands and open lakes. They rose so high, that the ugly little duckling felt quite queer. It turned around in the water like a wheel, stretched its neck after them high in the air, and uttered such a loud and odd shriek that it was frightened at its own voice. Oh, it could not forget the beautiful birds, the happy birds, and as soon as it had lost sight of them altogether, it ducked right down to the bottom, and when it came up again it was quite beside itself. It did not know the name of the birds, nor where they were flying, yet it loved them as it had never loved anything before. It envied them not one bit. How could it presume to wish for such loveliness? It would have been only too glad if they had allowed it to go with them, the poor ugly creature. The winter grew cold, so cold that the duckling had to keep swimming on the water to prevent it from freezing altogether. Every night, the hole in which it swam became smaller and smaller. It froze so that the whole crust of ice crackled again, and the duckling had to use its legs continually so that the water might not close up over its head. At last the poor duckling grew faint, lay quite still, and froze fast into the ice. And that's where we're going to leave it for this video, and I will put up the second, put up part 3 after this. So this is one more to be continued of this story. I will see you soon. I love you, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye-bye.